And we're back. Welcome to the iPhone course for busy moms. We're about to learn about location. So here we are, chapter 2, how to pick your best location and put that best foot forward when it comes to photography. We're going to start with outdoor locations because honestly, it's the easiest. You're not hemmed in by walls, limited by messing living and clutter, and you can always find clean, beautiful lighting options. So let's talk about it. The number one thing that people do when they get outside is they look for the shadows. We are afraid of the sun when it comes to cell phone photography, but we're not going to be afraid of it anymore. Shadows are great to block excess light, but we're not going to stay in them. We want to be looking for things that add interest to our pictures. Foregrounds, backgrounds, those things add interest. Looking for layers. And the third thing we're going to be doing is finding leading lines. There are natural lines that exist in our universe, and they create a lot of visual dynamics when they lead directly to your subject or your kiddos. So let's talk about shadows. When we talk about lighting from behind with cell phones, everybody talks about lens glare, blown out photos, unfocused, and that's because they're positioning their subject directly in front of the light. By moving them over into that 50 to 30 degree angle location, we are allowing ourselves to avoid direct backlight and avoid that glare. So we don't have to stay in the shade. While you do avoid the glare, you also avoid any dynamic lighting, making for flat photographs. If you can't see the sun can't see you, and we lose all glow to our skin, making age lines, weight, and color dull. And if you can't find a way to stay out of full sun, not that you should be avoiding it, but if you feel like you need a little bit of a comfort device as we branch into the world of the unknown, utilize the shadow of a limb or your hand, a tree branch or a bush. It can reduce and block lens glare and control that light. You can see in this picture, the top picture of my daughter, I have her kind of hugging the tree so that she's in primarily shade, but we're still utilizing that sun filtering through to create some interesting highlights on her body. And the sun is reflecting off that dirt, creating this beautiful lighting on her face. And then same thing with my son. This tree is blocking, I'd say probably 80% of the sunlight, but the background is still able to be glowy. We have a nice hair highlight on his head, and the rock that he's on is actually filtered sunlight. So we still have a beautiful image, and the sun is also reflecting off of the ground, creating nice, clean skin tones. Speaking of skin tones, let's take a minute and talk about how location matters when we talk about lighting and our colors. The picture above, these two pictures are taken actually less than 100 feet away from each other on the same block wall at the same park. We're just looking at that soccer field from different angles. We've rounded the corner here. In the upper picture, we have grass on both sides of the fence, creating a green overcast. We're also in shadow fully. There's no sun, no highlights, no nothing. So it's a pretty flat image, and believe it or not, this is an edited image. It's not how it was in camera. The second picture, the lower one, is in full direct sunlight. But what makes this picture work so much is that the concrete and the stone are actually reflecting bright white up. So it's allowing us to balance those light sources. Keep your eye on how much grass is reflecting, because it's always going to reflect yellow green, which is going to impact your tint and your temp editing features. It's a pain in the neck to edit. So double check your color cast when you're taking those pictures. Let's talk a little bit more about leading lines. So I've got two great examples of leading lines here on the screen. The upper picture is of my daughter, and in hot pink, I have shown how the different lines of the door are all pointing into the center of the picture where she's at, from the curve of the ball leading our eye up to the door, leaning our eye on the horizontal axis, and the lines of the windows leading on a vertical axis down to her. Same thing with the picture of my son. That wall gives us a beautiful double horizontal line leading towards him. The same thing can be said about the concrete spacer, and then the vertical line of the bike brings it in. A great trick for leading lines is to actually practice with leaves and flowers, because tree branches and flower stems naturally have leading lines. So you're going to trick your eye into looking for them when you wouldn't normally. Going into indoor locations, these locations are a little bit harder, but some of the best pictures are taken in our kitchens, in our living rooms, and in our dining rooms. Same thing for our indoor locations. Don't hide, utilize. Everyone wants to clean, but don't worry about it. Bodies will often block messy backgrounds. By changing the way that we utilize our angles and our camera positions, they can make more dynamic photos. And then finding the natural lines of existing features, again, lead to our subject. So God bless this mess. Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but this upper picture of my daughter and I was taken a couple of days ago making Thanksgiving pumpkin pie. In that messy, cluttered kitchen that has dirty countertops and a sink full of dirty dishes. But you can't tell, because our bodies are blocking most of everything in the background, and you're not looking past our faces and what we're doing. So don't spend hours cleaning your house top to bottom trying to make Pinterest pictures that are Instagram worthy. Messes also happen when you're making pumpkin pie, when you're wrapping presents, when you're cutting out snowflakes, and you're trying to get all of those sugar cookies decorated. Make the mess part of the photo. Enjoy the wrapping paper, the lights, the boxes, and bring some fun into your Funtos. And if you really need that super clean look, pick a small spot. In this central picture of my daughter writing on this dining room table, you would never know that there was a giant pile of laundry just outside of frame. So get creative with it. As adults, we really have a hard time shifting perspective, but our kiddos live anywhere from 2 to 4 feet shorter than us. And we're often taking pictures from adult height. Bend over, get down on the ground, or go way up in the air and change the angle. Play with it, have some fun. If we can learn a single thing from our kiddos, it's that perfection is boring. A little bit more about leading lines for indoors. It's basically the exact same thing. You're going to want to look for natural lines like this beautiful indoor potted plant, this poof. I think it's so funny that I picked 2 pictures of my daughter sitting on circles. And then this picture of my son with the window and the couch. There are lines everywhere leading to your kiddos. We just need to be looking for them. So I hope that you had a great time thinking about locations and how to pick them. We're going to pick back up at Chapter 3, The Secret Ingredient. Talk to you soon.